what happens if one of these custom part breaks? It's always struck me that what's most platonic, if you like, about the Corbusier's architecture is that particularly the buildings are often seem to be, they're obviously supposed to be made out of some kind of eternal white substance that never ages. And when you see them, there's something kind of tragic about them. It seems to me the utopian idea of your architecture is that you can sort of, as an architect, give people this thing without imposing this very boring order on them. But I wonder, what do you think about the opposite thought, which is that maybe the fact that everything's customized makes people more dependent on the architect, the original designer, some way, or is everybody going to have the ability to create their own customized parts?
Well, two things. The maintenance issue is a little bit kind of case by case, but almost always when you maintain a building, you don't stockpile components. Sometimes you do, sometimes you would, and that would be a problem. But in most cases, it's not really so much of an issue. It is in a car or something like that, yeah, a little bit in the car, yeah, a little bit. But more the issue of where would architecture go. I mean, I'm a bad example of my profession, but my profession is typically very tragic. I mean, if you're a tragic personality, you gravitate towards architecture. Just because culturally, people are told architects are these people with visions that, will always come up against societal obstacles. The kind of Ayn Rand thing that most architects feel. And so when you ask architects, what does a computer do? They immediately say, kills architects. It's like going to kill someone. It's either going to take away our intuition, it's going to eliminate our vision, or it's going to take away our jobs. I actually think the opposite on every single count. I think it expands our expression. It connects us with new ways of building things and prototyping things. And I also, based on my limited contact with the industrial design world, everyone is going to need architects for more and more stuff. The longer people use this kind of mass customized stuff. Because would you really want to design your own car? Would you want to go on the web and design your own car and engineer it? Or would you want to go on the web and, customize your own fashion?
He designs a common GR.
So, either it's going to happen automatically, or there are going to be these new people. There will be fashion architects, there will be car architects. Architecture will get more diffused, but you'll get these creative people that'll start to work with these processes more.
But my intuition is right, that instead of kind of like giving people their own interaction with a space, it's more like the architect becomes more omnipresent.
Well, as space gets more complex, you'll probably want to talk to space specialists more. Yeah. I mean, if you look at the things you can do with Microsoft House or the off-the-shelf architectural design software, they actually make it simpler than just a simple suburban tract house. So, in fact, as you get more interaction and more complexity in the system, I actually think you're going to need more people creatively approaching it.
You just see how many terrible books have been designed. Because people think now they can design.
Terrible books written first before that.
Not to talk about the writing, this before. So I think it's a bit the same question.
No, it's actually a good point, because all these other people get the bad housing, so he has the time to design a few of the good things. So if he would be employed with these others, that would be not good. But okay, Finn.
I wanted to say, first of all, that I was really impressed and amazed by a lot of the buildings here. And I had a set of questions connected with that, one of them very small, one of them kind of large. The first question was what you thought of Lebbeus Woods and any reaction to his work. And the second question, it's not a question about authorship, but I've been working a lot with people who do cellular automata, which is like the really exciting part of science. And looking at your work, all of the hallmarks, choosing 8 sympathetic curves and setting up basic rules and then looking at feedback and variation were very similar. What I was wondering was, it's not really a question about authorship as such, but something kind of related to what Ben was bringing up, which was this idea that in the process that you're working on, it seems like we almost see a re-entry of a kind of beauty in a very strange way. That in the same way scientists say, when I do a cellular automata program, I look for interestingness, is what they say. I look for something that looks complex, the way life is complex, or a snowflake is complex. And it seems like as you design these shapes and churn them out and create them in different ways, I'm wondering, how does your creative process work with this? When you look at these variations, how do you find the ones that seem interesting, valuable, the good products of the calculus?
Well, there's easy beauty that's in there, which is, say, symmetry. Like whenever you show somebody symmetry, they think it's beautiful. When you show them near symmetry, they think it's even more beautiful. Now, those big generalizations I'm really suspicious of. I mean, it just might be that I kind of came of age in the 80s and, too much influenced by deep down to trust something so simple as saying, well, symmetry is always good. But there's definitely easy beauty. I found, Brian Goodwin, he and I for quite a while had a lot of exchange about form and geometry, both how you generate it and how you evaluate it. I've always found scientists to go for the easy beauty rather than the complex beauty, honestly. And, I'm suspicious of how this work gets received because I don't want it to look like natural form and I don't want it to be easy beauty. But I have to say, you might say that now. Even my wife, when she saw the thing in Costa Rica, couldn't talk to me for a week because she just was afraid anything she would say would be so terrible. Actually, with the embryological houses, when Peter Eisenman saw him, he had this thing where he said, "You've lost all critical judgment. Because if you're making these things, it's just all a big mess." And he said, "Which one is the best?" And I said, "Well, they're like my children. I love them all equally, but they're all different." And he said, "Well, that's not an answer." And I said, "Well, the collection is the thing, not one of, it's not about generating the best one out of a complex system. It's about generating the complex system that's the problem, not the one. It's the one and the many at the same time." And the degree to which science is working on that problem of speciation and singularity, that's an interesting question. But natural beauty and producing natural form, no. That's more troubling to me. That's also the software. The software wants, whether it's a special effect in a Hollywood movie or a car or architecture, the software, because of curvature, has a will towards certain easy beauty.
Okay, but it might be just that the judgmental attitude as such might not be working so well anymore. So it might be that we are allowing it to appear and to change, even that our taste is not so important
for sure.
in that, and how we live in it. That's really the only beauty that counts. Have we a beautiful life in it or not? That is beautiful.